So, I mean, I think the climate change issue is the most serious environmental issue that we face. Because once you hit some of these tipping points and you get the entire global system shifted, you can't reverse it. We're on a trajectory to get to that tipping point. I actually think that we can still slow it and potentially reverse it. But we probably have about a 10 to 20 year window to do it. We don't have a lot of time to do it. And we have to start now, this year, next year, if we're going to get serious about it. And, I would say in terms of inside information, actually the public information more or less matches up with what we get in terms of our briefings. The public information is pretty scary. So we're going to have to start acting right away. I mentioned already some steps that could be taken that would have an enormous impact. If everybody here was driving a car that got 40 miles a gallon, first of all, we would have to import zero oil from the Middle East. Think about that. This goes to your earlier question about our uses of the military. Think about the change in geopolitics if we didn't have to import any oil from the Middle East. How much more flexibility that would give us in terms of how we deal with other nations. That's all it would take. Cars getting 43 miles a gallon, which is well within existing technology. The problem is that Detroit has been resistant to increases in fuel efficiency standards. That is a huge mistake. They're getting the pants beat off them by Toyota because they've been delaying and stalling and putting off the day of breaking. So my attitude is, you know what, Detroit will help you make some transitions, but you've got to transition. And we're going to increase fuel efficiency standards 4% a year over the next several years, so we get to 40 miles a gallon. A cap and trade system. Setting up a cap and trade system basically says there's a price to the greenhouse gases that you're sending up into the air. And we're going to charge you, company X, for that pollution. Now, the reason it's called a cap and trade system is once we put a price on it, companies have a financial incentive in terms of reducing their emissions. They can trade it with other companies who are doing a better job than they are, but there's an economy now, there's a market, and that means investors come in because there's money to be made. And you can actually auction off the emissions that are allowed and generate billions of dollars that can be invested into the Manhattan Project for finding new energy sources. So that is an area we have to move on this now. And as president, it will be one of my top 2 domestic priorities, along with instituting universal health care in this country. The time for delay is over, and we have to see it not just as a challenge, but also as an opportunity. We can create an entire new industry in green technology that generates jobs and opportunities for an entire generation. It's a huge project. It's going to be the biggest industrial project we've ever undertaken. But we've done some successful things. This is the next thing.